Paul, are you there?
I am here, Kamal.
Are you going to go with us?
I'd love to go, but the likelihood is questionable. But
Okay.
I'd love to go.
Yeah, actually, this is like for everybody. Honestly, these opportunities are really like rare. I hope everybody get them. And honestly, Tanzania is, and Israel, of course, we haven't seen it yet, is it will be just like your life experience, an experience you'll never forget, nothing like it. I love sitting there at night under the moons and hearing the roar of the lions, and actually the fire there, and we're sitting around the fire talking about wildlife conservation and climate change. It is just nothing like it. So the second time we went, actually, I mean, this is the third time. The third time I'm gonna have something to tell me, like the stars. You see the stars in the sky, and I don't know them, but we're gonna get something so we can tell which is which. Other than Dr. Sime has some idea. She explained some for us.
Yeah, and I like to emphasize that although the trips are not cheap, depending on how much financial aid you get, these are really special trips because in both cases you get to work closely with, you meet fellow students, you get to meet faculty members from the other country. You really get their view of things and you really get to know them well. It's an immersive experience. I mean, you could certainly pay and go to Israel and go as a tourist, or Tanzania, and take a safari, but you wouldn't get this insider view and really start forming relationships with some of the people there. So I think these trips are really quite special that way.
And let's face it, once you graduate, life is only going to get more complicated. So this is, you know, the timing of doing this while you're a student is, I wish I had done something like this when I was a student, because you just are very likely never to have an opportunity like this. So, you know, if you can scrape the money together, it's really a worthwhile thing to do.
Questions?
I missed the first part about the Tanzania trip. You guys mentioned camping. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we camp. So we leave the campus, and then actually we have tents, two per tent. But it is a really nice, completely 100% like sealed tent. You get in and you don't have to worry about anything. Well, some of the night at Ngorongorom is a little cold. We will be almost above the cloud, but the rest are not cold at all. And I don't remember exactly where, Karen, they already had camps set up there, and we just use them.
Lake Manyara, yeah.
Lake Manyara.
So yeah. The college supplies the camping gear. You can bring your own sleeping bag if you want, but they'll actually supply it, so you don't have to bring anything. And our group travels with a cook, actually 2 cooks, so all the meals are prepared, and they are really good too. So while you're out taking your safari and looking at animals, there's 2 or 3 cooks back at the campground making your lunch and dinner, and it's amazing. It's really not like camping I've ever done. So they did a great job. They took good care of us. And camping is a really amazing way to see these places, because there's quite a bit of night wildlife too that we get to see up close, even very close. So the camping part is really fun, and you don't have to be an experienced camper. They pretty much take care of everything for this.
So yes, the food is cooked fresh, and coffee and tea and soup, everything. Actually, if you're concerned about food, I don't think there is a reason to be concerned. There will be a variety of food. Tanzania population is mixed from Middle Eastern, Southeast Asia, including Indian, and of course African. So there is quite a variety of food.
And they're happy to accommodate vegetarians and
Right.
vegans and so on too. That's no problem.
That sounds really fun. I think you've answered most of my questions, but I love camping, and I'm like, wow, I could do it in another country.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
I have a question about transportation. So I'm from out of state. I'm from Maine. Do we just get like connecting flights and then like the whole group meets up somewhere? Like, do we meet at a certain area and all fly together?
Yeah, so the cost of the trip, the $4,000, includes your flight from JFK to Tanzania. So you have to get to JFK by whatever means you want. So either a connecting flight or have someone drive you to the airport. And what we did the last 2 times was we just met in the departure lounge for our flight in there. So students, we just sort of all congregated at the gate, basically.
Okay,
A
thank
couple
you.
hours ahead of time. So as long as you can get to JFK, you're good.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question that might be sort of odd. So I have type 1 diabetes, which requires me to like carry around insulin that needs to be refrigerated. And I'm more so looking at the Tanzania trip and piggybacking on that with camping. Would there be like an accommodation or something like that for like those that need to carry around medical needs and equipment?
You know, I can ask. Like I said, we travel with cooks. There isn't always electricity where we go, but they do bring ice with them sometimes. So if I would ask, you know, check it out ahead of time. But we can probably arrange for a cooler with ice. Would that be, if that's sufficient? That would be good. The problem is electricity is not guaranteed. So in our campgrounds, we don't have a refrigerator or a place to plug one in necessarily. We have a generator, but it can be unreliable. So I would say I would investigate that beforehand. But I think if we plan ahead, it sounds manageable because we're not that far from civilization. We could probably find a way to bring ice packs and things like that. But
Okay, yeah.
something like that we could discuss. It's not, you know, we have a big truck and plenty of room for things like that. So I think it could be,
Okay,
be done.
thank you. I totally understood like there's not going to be electricity on like a campground.
Right.
But there is enough to charge your phone from the
Yeah.
generator and from the solars.
Any other questions?
Would it be wise to see some photos from Tanzania?
I'd like
Okay.
that.
We can show some. Actually, I did not prepare for those, but I have them. At least it's a random sample. And I'm gonna go over them. Okay, I hope, yeah, that can do it. I think this is the first time. This is the first trouble. Okay, oh, is there? No, I cannot do that. I have to make it a little smaller. Here we go. This is the first day at the African Wildlife College. And as we mentioned, the first day, we're gonna have some lectures. They tell us about the research, and actually it's quite fun too. Okay, we don't have time to talk about this, but this is the Shaga Hall, which has a really nice story you will hear about if you go there. Dr. Karin and a couple of students, behind them is a coffee tree. You can see the red berries. I think this is, is this the Maasai Museum? This is the entrance to Ngorongorom. And food, we just talked about food. Look at how much food is there. Kilimanjaro and the bananas. The local beer students are tasting. And this is the campus, and Mount Kilimanjaro, just like behind the building. Our happy students. The snake park. I think this is an elephant bones, or is it a giraffe or elephant?
I don't know, I'm an entomologist.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Manyara in the back, in actually that view, Lake Manyara below us. And the visit to the Maasai village, that was fun. A couple of hours of fun. You're not gonna see this anywhere else. Lions on trees. They make their own fire. This is how they start the fire. The wildebeest migration. Those were just in front of us on the road. So we have to stop. You can see how much animals are there. And this is about maybe 10 feet away from the truck. Where are you going to see this other than in Ngorongorom? There's something called shifting sand. I think actually Paul may have interest in it right there. That is like they call it the shifting sand. I think it is volcanic ash, and it make a huge pile, but it moves every year. It moved like about 10 feet, like to the other side. So that was on the road to Serengeti. There is more than a dozen lions on a tree. That was a lucky day. They started to go down, so because the alpha lion was chasing an animal, a prey. I think this is the last one. So this is just like a random sample of some of the things you're going to see. And each time actually we're there, we stop there and we have our experts, and then we talk about those animals and their behavior. And so we spent quite some time in a lot of places talking about animals and their behavior. Okay. Any last questions?
Thanks for the details, Kamal and Karen.
Sorry, couldn't hear you, Paul.
I wish I could go, but thanks for all the details.
Sure. If anyone has any other questions, they should certainly email either Dr. Mohamed or me or International Ed. We can answer questions as they come up.